But, you know, this has real world consequences, because then you get the Indian Removal Act, and you get the Trail of Tears, and you get this justification for removing the indigenous people from this land because they weren't from there. They'd wiped out this other earlier civilization, right? So, you know, we're not doing anything wrong. In fact, we're kind of balancing the scales of history.
Yeah.
So it's real. Pseudo history, pseudo archaeology has a real impact. I mean, hell, the Nazis were obsessed with it.
Yeah. I think of the name of the Rage Against the Machine song. Yeah. And so like controlling the past and what we think about the past it's important, and it's important to try to get it right. And, you know, the mound builder myth and the Nazis and slavery, like these are all great examples of if you get the past wrong, and if you get it wrong on purpose for a political aim, it is connected to great human suffering. And it's not just funny, you know, to think about Atlantis and ancient aliens and stuff like that. Like when you start scratching down and looking at this stuff, like it's pretty horrifying. Really, and it's connected to real world consequences for a lot of people. And it's not always about white supremacy, but oftentimes it is. In the modern era, it's been about white supremacy. But there's nationalist pseudo archaeology that goes along all over the world. You know,
absolutely.
The Bosnian pyramid. There's stuff in India, but people everywhere, I think, recognize that people care about the past, and controlling the narrative about what happened and where human variability comes from and what that means is a way to set the table for changing the way the world is in negative or positive ways. And it's been used negatively a lot. Yeah, for sure. I mean, pseudo history, pseudo archaeology, definitely. It seems to always be used to promote these ultra nationalist myths, right? Hello, friends. That was a brief clip from the conversation I had with Kurly Tlapoyawa and his podcast, Tales from Aztlantis, which I will put a link to down below. Had a great conversation with him. It was a lot of fun. If you like the stuff I do, you'll probably find things to like in there. If you don't like the stuff I do, you'll find things to not like. So even if you're just going to rage listen, I encourage you to go and have a listen and support his channel and his work. And unfortunately, the regular co-host was not there, but I look forward to meeting, at least virtually, Ruben at some point. And I would love to have one or both of them on my channel too. I don't often do things like interviews. You know, we've done the Fraudulent Archaeology Roundtable 2 or 3 times now at this point. But, you know, as I've said before, it's my channel, so I'll do whatever I want to. It was funny at the end. He asked me the question, what would I do if I found a giant skeleton? And I remembered that when I used to teach, I would often give extra credit points at the end of the exam if the students would draw a picture. So I saved those pictures, and it was a stupid picture. You know, one time it was draw the last common ancestor. One time it was, you know, draw the lizard man, which was a cryptid in South Carolina or something like that. And one time it was draw me finding a giant skeleton. So I do have artistic renderings of what people thought it would look like if I found a giant skeleton. I have been unable to locate them so far. I am sure I didn't throw them away. So either I have them somewhere on paper still, or I have them as scans. Because after the test, I would, you know, as we went over like the grading of the test, and here's how many A's there were and B's there were, and here's the questions that really got you. Like I would throw up everybody's drawings too, and the students loved seeing what other students drew for this stuff. Anyway, check out the Tales from Aztlantis podcast and our conversation about pseudo-archaeology and other stuff. Thanks a lot. That's all I have for right now. Bye-bye.